Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for a live reaction, live review, and player ratings live stream of Chelsea 3, Tottenham 0, or the other way around, because it was at White Hart Lane, and Tottenham got battered again. What a lovely day. What a beautiful day. I mean, the first half was god bloody awful, but no matter how awful we are, what do? We end up winning 3-0. We are absolutely gargantuan, and I'm so happy, and I'm so excited. Things are just amazing. And I'm just very, very pleased. And I'm even more pleased because I'm joined by a very special guest who I haven't spoken to in a hot minute because I was on holiday. We are joined by Mr. ConnCFC. We will also be joined by Cheyenne of NextGenPod in a few minutes. He's just having his breakfast over in Seattle, USA. So he'll be here in a couple of minutes. But Con, thank you for coming. Are you as excited and as happy as I am?
Yeah, bro. I think do you know the saying of two halves, a game of two halves? That's what that was today. I'm so happy, bro. First half, I was so annoyed. I remember just putting out a tweet saying Mount and Kai had a really poor half, really poor. Yeah. I was so annoyed. And then second half comes, the Ngolo comes on, game changes. Beautiful day.
Honestly, it's so weird. Like, Tuchel, you know, if you just watch the first half, you think, manager's kind of gotten it wrong here. And then he makes a sub that no one really expects like that. Bringing Ngolo Kante on for Mason Mount, changing essentially to a more defensive formation. And what he does is ruins everything Tottenham have ever known about us, and they had no idea what to do. And we just absolutely bamboozled them. Like, absolutely bamboozled them. Like, Thomas Tuchel is so intelligent. I'm scared he's going to create a black hole out of nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mental. How's he come up with that then? How has he come up with the idea bringing Kante on for Mount to win 3-0 when it's half time at 0-0? That makes no sense to me, but it works, and that's why he's getting paid millions, and I'm not. But hey, it is what it is. It's honestly insane. But you said it there already, Con. The first half was a howler, and Mount and Kai, both of them had a howler. Kai got a bit better in the second half, as did the whole team. But even then, in the second half, I thought he was probably still our worst player until he came off. So, wasn't a good day for the both of them. But hey, you know what a situation we are in when we can have two of our best players have a really bad day, and we end up winning 3-0. Like.
Yeah, and it's like a common thing we're seeing this season. So against Villa, I didn't think it was great. But these games we were not playing great. The second half there was incredible. But the games we're not playing great, we're actually winning, and we're winning it convincingly by the scoreline, you know? It's unusual to see in a Chelsea shirt. Like, normally we're used to like these 0-0s, or we're losing to these crap sides because we're just frustrated we can't score. But things are looking different now, Laurenz, and you know, maybe we're getting title challenges. We're definitely strong favourites by some people as well. Good times, bro. Good times.
100%. 100% are we up there in the title race. I mean, we're joint top of the league now with Liverpool. Literally everything identical. Same amount of points, same amount of wins and draws and losses. No losses, but same amount of goals scored, same amount of goals conceded. And that is just because we drew each other as well. So, mental, absolutely mental. Obviously, Liverpool have had a slightly more fortunate run than ourselves. We're playing Burnley and Norwich and stuff rather than, you know, like ourselves. But I'm still baffed. I'm honestly still baffed. Like you said it there, we weren't great against Villa, but somehow won 3-0. We weren't great against Zenit. Sure, we didn't like smack them, but still got a dub. And today, first half was really, really poor in my opinion. Like from pretty much the entire team, only Thiago Silva and Kepa did a couple of good things. I'm not saying Rüdiger was bad, but he didn't really have anything to do because Spurs didn't do anything on the right side, really. But every single player aside from those three was kind of anywhere from poor to really, really bad. And it was still 0-0. And I think Nizar Kinsella tweeted it just after half-time. We can just soak up what feels like unlimited amount of pressure. Nothing happens from it. And then once we finally sort ourselves out, and eventually we always do, we just smack them. And it's crazy.
Yeah, it is, bro. Yes, we saw it against Liverpool. We soaked that up. We've seen it again today, and it's just a great trait to have. You know, it's a sign of a title-winning team. Because I've been watching like the big boys this season. I haven't really been convinced of City. I haven't really been convinced of United, despite of them getting results. I just don't think they look that great. But with us, it's just that something different, and it just seems like when we don't want to concede, we won't. You know, nobody gets through, and you know, defense wins you titles, as the saying says.
Yeah, and we're now, well, in the league, 5 games in, we've conceded 1 goal, and that was from a penalty. All competitions, we've played 7 games, and we've conceded 2 goals. And, you know, that was against Villarreal when we've barely had a pre-season with any of our players. Like, It's honestly crazy. It is genuinely crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, if you've tuned in already, I really do appreciate you because not streaming for 2 weeks, being on holiday and international break before that, really killed the algorithm for me. So if you're here, appreciate you a lot. Smash the like button because it really helps me with the algorithm again, getting back on it. So please do smash the like button so it's pushed out to more different people. And of course, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. And if you want to support the channel and use the super chat function, of course, you are very welcome to do so. But let's get to the game before, Cheyenne joins us. And I'm unsure yet whether Pice will as well, but we'll see. What did you think of the lineup when it first came out? Obviously, the first big shock was that we had a couple of minutes before the lineup was officially released that Kepa was starting. At the time, we didn't know for sure that it was because Mendy picked up an injury, but, realistically, we were kind of knew that. But still, Kepa had to start. Mendy wasn't in the squad. It doesn't seem like it's anything serious. He was there and stuff, and, he looked fine. But probably, he seemed to be a bit uncomfortable in the build-up or the warm-up before Zenit already. And then obviously had the clash with Zubayev or whatever his name is, the Zenit striker. So probably a bit of a safety measure, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll find out more later on. But we saw that. And outside of that, the big, for me, surprising thing was that Kante didn't start. The way Tuchel has been speaking all week, the way that he was like, Kante's kind of ready for Zenit already, but, we'll leave him out just so he's fully ready for Spurs. And then he doesn't start. That was the big surprise for me. But what did you make of the lineup?
I saw it. So I was just playing FIFA beforehand. So I wasn't on Twitter, so I didn't know about the Mendy. So when I came on and I saw Kepa and Gal, I was like, why is he doing this? And then I looked at the subs. I was like, there's no Mendy. And then I read Twitter and I was like, oh, God. So I was a bit nervous about that. Even though I did say before the game, I back Kepa to do well. It seems like his mentality is there again, which is great. Other than that, Mount, Havertz, Kai, front three, pretty standard. Georgie, Kovar, pretty standard. I really like the defense. I love them three playing together in centre half. So Alonso's still playing over Chilwell. Don't know what's going on with Chile, but Alonso's been good. Fairs and Asby playing over Reece is what it is. Yeah.
That was another interesting one, I suppose, because interestingly, I probably wouldn't have predicted or expected it, but I was doing the preview yesterday, if you guys saw it maybe, with Jem and Lewis. And both of these guys told me, yeah, this is the back three we're going to play today. I was like, are you sure? But they were very confident. They were bloody spot on. Like, I was like, fair play. When the lineup came out, hey, it couldn't have been more right. To be honest, aside from the Mendy one, they predicted the entire team. Both of them said, no, Kante won't start. I'm like, what? All right. And they got it spot on. So fair play to these boys. But did that surprise you that once Aspie doesn't play centre-back, that he still is in the side of right wing-back? Or do you think it has anything to do with potentially the robbery of Reece James? Or do you think it was just a tactical decision?
I think it was a bit tactical. Tuchel wanted to be a bit more defensive on the right. Against the bigger teams, sometimes we'll see an Aspie at right wing-back like we did against Madrid. So I wasn't too shocked. And after that cross Aspie did to Lukaku against Zenit, was it?
Yeah.
Against Zenit, yes. Yeah. He kind of deserves to start, doesn't he?
That is very true. That is very true. And even though Reece James obviously had a brilliant start to the season, especially against Arsenal, he was fantastic. And then obviously the Liverpool game was a bit unfortunate. But Aspie has also been doing really well when he did play at right wing back this season. I mean, he got the assist for the 3-0 against Villa, which was wonderful from right wing back when he came on. He obviously got the cross, obviously from centre back, but still got the cross, the assist for Lukaku against Zenit, like you mentioned. So, people have a go at these things, but Aspie has just also had a really good start to the season. I'm not saying Reece hasn't, but Aspie also has. So, we have to take that into account. I do quickly want to touch on the whole Chilwell thing, because I was talking to someone on, just texting before the game, before the lineup came out to Pice, actually, because he texted me he's not particularly pleased with the lineup. Especially with the fact, like you just said, what's going on with Chile. For me, today was never a day where I expected Chile to start, because the fact that he only had like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever it was against Zenit the other day was like, that's probably not enough to get him match fit to play against Tottenham. So I always expected today to be Alonso. Alonso usually turns up against Tottenham anyway. Not sure whether Tuchel knows or cares about those kind of, intricacies, I suppose, but, usually it does happen. And we have a cup game in midweek. So surely it's just all lined up for Chile to start there. After that game, he's match fit. And then from then on, we can look at form rather than match fitness on who plays between the two.
No, yeah, I think you're right there. I think it's aligned like that. Chile to get some minutes against Villa, I think, isn't it, we're playing? Yeah. So, yeah, probably get minutes there. And if we're being honest, I think us Chelsea fans have to be honest when we're thinking about this. On form right now, I don't think even a fit Ben Chilwell replaces Alonso, because Alonso's been amazing.
I would agree for the first few games. I didn't think Alonso was particularly great against Villa and Zenit. But hey, you know, I'm not saying he was really bad in those. I'm just saying he wasn't as good anymore as he was in the first couple of games of the season. But today, again, Alonso, I mean, in the first half, like pretty much the entire team, he struggled. But the second half, you know, he got the assist for the first goal. Sure, it was only a corner, but at least we had someone playing in good corners. You know, we don't at all times. So, you know, I'll take that. I'm not going to sit here and some people say, oh, Mason Mount doesn't get enough open play assists. I don't care. He gets assists. Be happy that we score goals. Don't complain, oh, it's not from open play. I don't give a damn. What are you talking about? And that's what Alonso did today. And, you know, he nearly scored. You know, if it wasn't, I'm still not sure who blocked that off the line, or whether it was Lloris or whether it was the defender. Nearly scored, nearly got another assist. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was putting a shift in again. Sure, his lack of pace is always frustrating, and people know I'm not his biggest fan, but he's putting in a shift at the moment. You can't really complain about it, can you?
No, you can't. And I think in that second half, he had like the license to sort of, I don't know, join the attack a bit more than just to be restricted on that left side. And it really worked. Like he's a problem in and around the box. Let's be honest, he really is. And it was a great block from Dyer. And there was another one as well where he hit on the volley. And I think, who was it? Was it Romero who headed it? I think so. So yeah, he's a real problem. And I don't think Chile has that sort of impact around in and around the box as Alonso does, you know. So yeah, fair play to him, you know. He's one of them players who's had a massive revival under Tuchel, and just hope he keeps going, because the more players we've got performing, the competition stays high and we keep winning games.
Exactly. And on that note, we are joined by another very special guest, Mr. Cheyenne. I don't actually know your surname. Doesn't matter. Mr. Cheyenne, all the way over from the USA, Seattle, Oregon, not Oregon, Washington. Oregon's the state below. Regardless, are you as happy as we are? Because we are buzzing all sorts off, because we just smacked Spurs 3-0 after we were awful in the first half, and I could not be more pleased. So first of all, Cheyenne, thank you for joining us. How are you? And are you as pleased as we are, mate?
Of course. Why wouldn't I be pleased? I am extremely happy to wake up to see us win. That's always a plus side. The only unhappy thing is, which is a good problem, we didn't win 5-0, which easily could have been 5-0. But
it could have been 10. A good. Lloris had a blinding performance, let's be honest.
I know. It was just good to see, and I'm just really happy that we're playing so well. And this is the Chelsea I've wanted to live for. I've always wondered what it was like to be a Chelsea fan back in like 04, 05, and I think we're slowly starting to live in this reality this season.
Ooh, I love that. See, that's why I get you on. You know, Cheyenne comes out with his statements. I'm like, we're living the reality of back in 04, 05. I'm like, yes, mate. It's exactly what I like to hear. Come on. We also have a super chat here for Fantasy PGA Tour. Big up yourself. Always appreciate you. Saying, hope you had a good holiday, Laurenz. Yes, I did. Buzzing about the thrashing of Spurs. Thiago Silva is the Ronaldo of defense. Thiago Silva today was the Ronaldo of everything, because not only was he our best defender or the best defender on the pitch, he was also the best attacker on the pitch. You know, not only did he make it 1-0, he nearly scored another goal as well from another header, which was only stopped by a very good save from Hugo Lloris. So Thiago Silva, what a man. What a man. But Cheyenne, just quickly before, because Con and I have just been finished speaking about it as opposed, talking about the lineup. Obviously, you know, Mendy picked up that injury and Kepa had to come in. Nothing really you could do about it, so not really much to moan about. But the rest of the team...
When did Mendy's injury even happen? I actually did not hear about it till kickoff today.
Yeah, see, no one knew. See, it's a weird thing, because Tuchel didn't mention anything on Friday, as far as I'm aware. But I heard that in the warm-up against Zenit, he had like a bit of a sore hip, but then played anyway. And then obviously there was the contact with the Zenit striker in the game. So no one really knows. I don't think it's anything serious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been at the ground. So it's probably going to be fine for by the time we play next weekend. Probably going to be left out for the Villa game in midweek, I presume. But yeah, probably nothing big. But aside from that, anything that surprised you? For example, Kante not starting, Aspia right wing back, or was it all like you would have seen it coming? Or Christensen right centre back? You know, it's not usually what we see.
No, I mean, honestly, I've gone to the point where I do not question any lineup. I think you both can agree that no matter who Chelsea play, I'm actually not one bit worried about who starts, who doesn't start, who should play, who shouldn't play. Maybe Saul, that was one that, not because of like, I didn't think his first performance was like I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but Matisse, we do the America is Blue nightly show Friday nights for UK time anyway, but it's like midday for us. And I said that Saul might have had a rough start if he played against Villa, in which he did, not nearly as bad as it was. But I think outside of everyone but Saul, because he just hasn't been integrated well, he's going to be great as well. We're going to get those 2015-16 Saul vibes, Champions League final stuff, because we're going back to back. I think anyone that Tuchel plays, I have no lack of confidence that they will play well. And obviously, I want to see Aspilicueta play every single game. He's the man on the back of the shirt. So obviously, I want to see that.
Hey, rightly so, lad. Rightly so. I mean, you make a good point there with the lineup, although you could also say by the fact that not for the first time this season, Tuchel had to make half-time subs. You could always argue he did kind of admit to himself that he kind of got it wrong, because unless you get it wrong and unless there's an injury, you don't usually want to make half-time substitutions, especially while you only have 3 like we're doing in the Premier League. So I think not starting Kante maybe wasn't the best idea, but hey, in the end we won 3-0, so who cares? Do you know what I mean? Like,
and it could have been a goal for Mason early on, to be fair. I mean, I think that was a big like fluff chance by Mason Mount in the first half. I mean, how the pass to Lukaku was poor. Then Lukaku absolutely recovers it and makes it look like, oh, okay, he didn't mess up. I'm playing it right back to Mason. And then to fluff it from there when you know you're going to receive it back most likely. I was a little bit dumbfounded by that. I was kind of disappointed by Mason, but it's not necessary. I don't think necessarily he made a massive mistake, Tuchel, because making a halftime sub, I mean, I think the best part about Thomas Tuchel is that he's a man that is not worried about what his ego, his reputation has to say. He just wants to win. So like, who cares that maybe he like might have gone it wrong? He took out Mason when he knew Mason wasn't quite playing well. And it seems like Mason's getting a little run into the ground, not going to lie. Because, I mean, I didn't watch England's games, but English fans have been saying Mason's been kind of poor for them recently. And I'm kind of seeing that a little bit with Chelsea. Not to say Mason's a bad player, but, I mean, it seems like he's getting run a little bit to the ground. It seems like there's almost fatigue. There's mental fatigue from him. And maybe we should give him a bit of a rest, so...
It's weird, isn't it? Like, I put it to you now as well, Con, both in that together, because Mount wasn't great against Villa where he started? And then Villa he was rested and then he played Zenit and was already not great against Zenit. And obviously, again, started today. And again, wasn't good. And like Shreya mentioned there, that counter-attacking moment we had, I mean, I won't put all the blame on Mount. I think you can't do that. That's a bit silly. Number one, Kai should have made a run much sooner, would have dragged more space, would have made things a lot easier for Mount. Also, did Lukaku really have to play it back when he could clearly see that 4 people were storming onto Mason Mount? Likelihood of him getting a proper shot off was rather slim. But obviously, Mason's pass to Lukaku was already dreadful. So, that forced Lukaku into something that he didn't really want to do in that situation. But that's the only thing that is different to now in 04-05. Back then, we knew how to counterattack. At the moment, we are great at everything except counterattack, and we're absolutely incapable of doing so. And it's
which
really
used to be our bread and butter last season, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, last season, let alone like the Mourinho and Conte days, that was all how we scored. You know, we only score counterattacks. It was mental. But Con, the question I want to put to you: would you say Tuchel kind of got it wrong in the first half, or do you think it was a case of first half was first half, and then we adapted and made it in the second half? Because you can talk about Kante, but you can also talk about Mason and Kai both having really poor, well, Mason first half and Kai in general, really a really poor game. And, I'm sure if he had more subs, he probably would have preferred to make 2 subs at halftime, because I'm sure he wasn't happy with any of them.
I think it's more of, you didn't expect Tottenham to play like that. Because they was very aggressive and they pressed us. I didn't expect Tottenham to play like that at all.
True.
I thought they were going to sit behind the ball. So I just thought we caught us like a bit of surprise. And like you said, when players don't play well, you can't really blame the manager for that. It's just call a spade. Mount and Kai were horrible today. Kai did improve in the second half, but that first half, it was absolutely awful. Mason Mount needs to just stop being Stevie Wonder when he's playing football for Chelsea and actually look what he's doing. Because this guy in open play, the reason he gets mocked so hard is because he always gets protected for how awful he can be in open play sometimes. And that pass to Lukaku, god awful. It's such a simple pass, but everyone has those days, especially people who are 22 years of age.
Especially people that play as much as he does.
Exactly. So we call a spade. Bad day at the office. He hasn't been too great lately. Maybe give him a rest. Maybe give him a rest against City. Play CS because he loves playing against City apparently. So maybe that's all he needs. God knows he'll pick up. We know he will. But yeah, back to your question. Sorry, I waffled a little bit there. I just think it's one of those things where a few players didn't play well. Tottenham sort of played a bit differently to how Tuchel probably expected. Saw the problem, changed it, easy fix.
It's weird because I told you earlier that Lewis and Gem literally got the you know, the predicted lineup aside from Kepa, obviously, which they couldn't have known, exactly spot on. But they did say they would actually prefer Timo over one of Kai or Mason because they think it would work better against Tottenham. And I'm like, you sure? Because I think Tottenham are going to sit quite deep, and then Timo is not the player you want. But I don't know where they've got this magical power from to know exactly what Tottenham are going to do, better than seemingly Tuchel knew. But how the game went, Timo Werner would have been very useful in the first half. And people know what I think about Timo Werner. And also people know what I think about his second half in terms of finishing. He still would have been useful. I can't lie. Timo Werner would have been useful in that first half. Less so in the second half once we took the lead. But even then, it made sense. It's just frustrating because Timo wasn't actually bad by any means. Obviously, he got the assist for Rüdiger's goal. He won us a few corners, which, you know, gives you time, lets you rest, makes things a little bit easier. But still, he has 2 chances. And already on Twitter, again, I had people telling me, but it was a difficult chance. I mean, are you taking a mic on that? Like, this is not Junsub Bell. You know, if Junsub Bell has this chance, yeah, I'm like, sure, it's a difficult chance. You're 17, 18 years old. I'll let you off. Timo Werner, we paid 50 million. He's now in his second season. And we know for a fact that Romelu Lukaku scores that 17 times in his sleep out of 10. Do you know what I mean? Like, no. Like, he was good, aside from finishing, but that's what makes Timo Werner so frustrating because his runs are great. His positioning is great. If he can sort his touch and his finishing out, it'd be so good. But he just can't sort his touch and his finishing out. But I know, Shayan, you're not as much as critical of Timo as I am. So what did you make of that? I know we'll get to player ratings in just a second, guys. I've just got it up here, but I'm just, you know, because somehow I ended up talking about Timo Werner, I just wanted to put it to you. What did you make of that?
I mean, it was actually fairly frustrating to see Timo's performance because I feel bad for Lukaku because imagine if Lukaku had those 2 chances, we would have seen probably 2 goals from him. His first touch, man, that was some poo-poo dog water stuff. I did not like to see it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the one thing that will always set Timo Werner out from all, like, the bad flop strikers Chelsea have had, he still got an assist. He didn't keep his head down. And, you know, I still take it. You know, he got an assist for Rüdiger's goal, and I was going crazy when that went in. Because it's just, like, it's so hyped to see Rüdiger score a striker's-esque goal. And Timo, he saw the space was in front of him. He didn't let the 2 misses bug him too much by the looks of it. It seemed like it did a little, but you know what? He still got an assist. That's more so than you can ask from any City player against Southampton last week. And so we're here now, and he has an assist. That's one more than City.
Or from any City players against Tottenham, who they lost against. So, you know, you make a good point. Like, you make a good point, and that's how I like Timo to be used. I don't want Timo to start too many games, not too many big games, but to be used as an impact sub, to come on with his extra bit of pace. He's super useful for that. Sure, it would be better if he could actually finish, and it would make things a lot easier. But he's still a useful player to bring on. But I'm still not, unless his form changes drastically, I don't think I'll become the guy to say, start Timo Werner, because that's what some people have been doing over the last few days. And Pice, I'll get to you in just a second. Sorry, mate. When like Mason or Kai don't play well, they're like, oh, we should have played Timo. I'm like, when does this happen that Timo is now the savior to our solutions? Like, when has this happened? This is just fans thinking, okay, these guys are playing badly, so he must be the solution because he's not playing. No, no, that's not how it works. No. But anyway, in the end, we got a 3-0 win. And as you might have been able to tell, Pice, myself, Con, and Shayan have been very ecstatic over it. And first of all, Pice, thank you for coming on because I know your family just came round and you're prioritizing us, which I massively appreciate. But yeah, first of all, how are you? And thank you for coming on, mate.
Nah, they've just gone, so I managed to hop on. So it wasn't
okay.
too long, but no, yeah, definitely good to be back. It's been a while. I know you've been on holiday. Yeah, just looking forward to talking about the game with you guys. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with the second half. Especially I think just the Tuchel masterclass again. You know, he's so proactive as manager. Being proactive is one of the most important things. I was just listening to his interview there. He said, you know, he kind of gave him like a proper stern talk at halftime because, you know, he felt that people were trying to be individuals too much. We weren't winning our duels. We wasn't really playing as a team. So, yeah, we needed more energy in midfield. So that explains why Kante came on. And, yeah, I'm just every time we go forward, I think we're going to score. And then it comes to the end bit and we don't. Like most of the time, it's so annoying. It could have been like 7 or 8, but genuinely it could have been if you replayed all the chances, maybe even 9. I forgot to count them up, but yeah, I thought Werner actually gave us a different dynamic when he came on. Although he was doing my head in again with missing chances, I just thought we looked more threatening with him on, and yeah, I liked the 3-5-2. So yeah, there's a lot to discuss, but yeah, I'm very happy overall, bro.
Very, very good. No, I couldn't agree more, really. I mean, because we're just going to get to the player ratings now. I'm going to ask you. Obviously, you texted me before the game, but you weren't particularly pleased with the lineup. What was the bit that frustrated you or confused you the most about the lineup? Because for me, obviously, aside from Kepa, but that was because of injury, so you can't really talk about that, I suppose. For me, it was Kante. Everything else, I wasn't too surprised about. If we're going to play that back three, I expect Aspi to start, because I always expect Aspi to start under Tuchel, in all honesty. I don't expect him to be dropped. So if he wants a more solid back three with a bit of extra legs of Christensen, especially for the long balls, which they did all day long, so it made sense, then I'm not surprised that Aspi's a right wing back, even if I'm not the biggest fan of it. But the Kante one was the one that really surprised me.
Yeah, I think I expected Kante to start, just especially because he was fit for Zenit. Like, he could have come on, but that almost, like, Tuchel didn't play him, almost made me feel like, oh, he's definitely saving him for Spurs then. But
exactly,
I mean, to be honest, the main one, as I said, was Alonso. And you argue with me that, oh, Chilwell's not fit, but personally, I think he's so bad personally at left wing back. I know so many people disagree. I just thought, especially the second half, he was better, but the whole team was. So yeah, I think the first half though, how many times did Havertz made a run down the left side and he would just look at him and then play it back? Or how many times did we get forward and then we would pass it out wide and he'd take 2-3 touches instead of fastening up the attack like Chilwell does? But I mean, overall, the team, I probably overreacted a little bit. I mean, I did expect Ziyech to be dropped. I did expect that. I was slightly surprised that Havertz and Mount both started again. I thought he was going to start Werner. I had that bookmarked down. I thought he was going to start Werner. But yeah, the team news was a little bit surprising to me. But I mean, just a game of two halves, really, right? I don't think we started well. Spurs pressed us. They didn't play a deep block like we expected them to. Yeah, they really came at us. But I mean, second half, bro, Tuchel must have slapped them at half time or something, because we were amazing after the second half.
That is true. I just realized that I haven't actually mentioned the super chat by David here. I do apologize, David. I appreciate it a lot. Saying wanted Lukaku to score so badly. Yeah, no, as did I. And especially, like, sure, we did make it 3-0 in the end anyway, but we had like 3 or 4 moments where we should have made it 3-0 way before Rüdiger actually did. And a couple of those could have been for Lukaku himself. Obviously, he set up. Did he set up both of them for Werner? No, the first one was Kante, but still, or the second one was Kante, but still, like, hey, in the end, we'll take it. Let me come back round to you, Con. Kepa in goal. Obviously, we spoke about the Mendy was out injured, and for a second, we was a bit scared that Kepa was picked up an injury, but actually, Kepa was pretty good today. There was one dangerous one where he had a bit of a let one bounce, like every goalkeeper seems to do for Cristiano Ronaldo, weirdly. But aside from that, Kepa was actually really good. He was coming out for crosses, catching them, being quite solid. The one shot from Harry Kane, he, kept it, caught it. Can't really complain about Kepa today, can you, Con?
No, I think it was really solid. And a lot of people spilled them sort of shots, like the one Kane did. He hit it hard on the floor. So to catch it, he did well. His distribution as well today was beautiful. It was really good. So for me, you can't give him a 10 because I don't think Spurs really had that much problem to give him, but I'd give him an 8.
I would agree. I think an 8 is very justified. Cheyenne, would you agree? I know you're a fan of Kepa, if I'm not mistaken. So, what would you give Kepa today?
Yeah, no, he was good. Kepa did what he had to do. Let's not say I'm a fan of Kepa now, but yeah, I'd say 7 or 8. I don't want to, because the thing is, not to say this is a bad thing, but I feel like we always dwell on like the defensive part the most, and then by the time we get to the offensive players, we start scrambling. So I'll be quick and just say an 8 is perfectly fine.
Fair. Pice, would you be okay with an 8 for Kepa as well?
I mean, might be a tad high since he didn't really have to make any saves apart from one low shot, which I mean we all really expect him to save. But I mean, it depends how high you want to go for a clean sheet. I thought he did okay. He was good on the ball, but Kepa's always good on the ball. He's got good distribution. He caught one cross that came in, which I was impressed with, which he nearly pulled his hamstring from, which was quite... I was like, oh, God, Bettinelli's going to come on for like 20 minutes. But that was quite a funny scene, but if that would have happened. But Yeah, it depends on how you want to go. I mean, usually if I start like an 8 here, then it's hard to go. Like they all seem really, really high. Maybe I'll go 7.5 and then come back to it.
To be honest, the 7.5 is not bad. Would Cheyenne, would you be okay with 7.5 as well?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, because I do see that. Because when we get to other players and then we gave Kepa at 7.5, sure, that's what goalkeepers are difficult, because goalkeepers, if the rest of the team plays well, goalkeepers don't really have that much to do. And then it's like kind of difficult. Do you only give them minus points for doing something wrong, or do they need to do something good to go up in rating? So maybe a high for that.
Sorry, Laurenz, that means to interrupt, but he did have a really clutch moment when Dele Alli put that ball in behind. And
He
was on
did.
his toe.
Forgot. I agree. 8 it is. Because that was actually a good save from Son. And yeah, maybe it's just an average save, but I've seen Kepa mess those up too many times, and this time he didn't. So that's why I give him more credit for it than maybe it deserves. But I still think it's an important save. It was a 0-0. You never know what happens if they go 1-0 up. So let's be positive. Let's back him up. If Kepa watches this, hello, you got to make that.
Hello.
There you go. You know what? Executive decision, not going from left to right or right to left like we usually do. We're going to the man of the match, and Thiago Silva's getting a 10. And I don't think any of you are going to disagree, because he was absolutely outrageously good today. Like, very rarely have I seen a better defender's performance plus scoring a goal. That was genuinely outrageous how good he was today. Let me go with you first, Cheyenne. How good was Thiago Silva today?
As we always say on this page, we don't do no if, buts, or maybes. We only do absolutes, and he is the best defender in the Premier League behind Cesar Azpilicueta. Case closed.
I love you so much. You're so hilarious to me. Pice, would you agree with those statements and also giving Thiago Silva a 10?
Definitely not with the Aspi one, but I'm guessing Chern's a massive Aspi fan or something.
Yeah.
but no, honestly, Silva was incredible, like absolutely incredible. I just love it when he scores. He's got the Aspi shirt as well. That makes sense. And yeah, I just love it when he scores as well, bro. Like a great header, kissing the badge. He should have scored 2, to be fair, but Lloris made a really good save.
Yeah.
He was so good, and like get out of it every single game. People are like, oh, he's slow. His positioning and intelligence to not get exposed is unreal. Like, it's just, he is, I say this time and time again, it's like having John Terry at the back again. He's the same, literally same sort of player. Amazing on the ball, amazing at defending, brilliant in the air. He's slower than other defenders like Terry was. Like, they were both slow, to be fair, apart from early Terry days. But their intelligence and positioning, the way they move, like, and cut out crosses and find the right spaces, it's world class. It is world class. He's a world class defender. I don't care what anyone says. 100% 10 for me today. He didn't put a foot wrong. Unreal.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely brilliant. And to think that he turns 37 on Wednesday is stupendous. Like, by that point, John Terry had retired already, I'm pretty sure.
So many
Terry wasn't even playing at Villa anymore.
Like Laurenz as well, right? So many people say to me, next season he has to go. If he's still like this and he can just play, come in from it every now and then, why not just keep him, man? Like, he's so good. He's not declining at all, bro. Like, I've not seen one game where I've been like, oh yeah, he's declining a bit. Like, not one, genuinely. The debut was shaky, but it's just a mistake. It's a debut. Like, I can't remember a game where I've been like, oh, Silva was average today. He's always quality. When
those matches against West Brom.
Yeah, the other West Brom game.
Yeah, that was his debut though, right?
No, but also in the home game it was poor. But those were the only two ones.
We don't mention that. That was a fluke game. We don't mention that. It's 5-1, bro. Like, they scored every shot in like West Brom. Like, come on, it's crazy. Crazy. That was a crazy game.
But I agree actually with what you said there about keeping him potentially for another year. If he, like, sure, he will have a few injuries this season. I think we're all aware that will happen. But like you said, if he's here for a few big games, why not? Also, everyone is aware that he wants to play for Brazil at the World Cup. So it's not like he will hang up his boots next summer because he wants to play the World Cup in November 2022. So he will still play next season. And if he wants to be in that squad, he will probably have to still be at a big team in Europe. So, chances of him wanting to, extend are probably pretty big. He's not going to ask for like crazy, raises in his wages. So, not really much to complain about. But Con, anything else to add on Thiago Silva? Because it's difficult to find enough superlatives for him today because that was outrageous.
He had it all today. He scored a goal. He should have had an assist. Alonso was unlucky with the volley. Clean sheet. His passing is better than most midfielders. He's been doing it for over a decade now. We're not even talking about world class anymore. We're talking about one of the footballing greats, you know. So, and this Fugazi where he's like slow. He's not, because I remember watching PSG versus Atlanta, right? Just the season before he came to us, and he outpaced Zapata, he's no slow guy, you know. So he's not slow. He's just so positionally aware. He doesn't even have to go at full sprint ever, you know. So what can I say? He's one of the greatest defenders in no lifetime. It should be a 12 today, but unfortunately it's 1 out of 10. So great player.
To be fair, we have done over 10 before, but you know, because there's no other ones that were anywhere near as good as him, I think we can leave it at a 10, if that makes sense. But I'll stick with you, Con. And before going to the other centre-back goal scorer of the day, let's go to Andreas Christensen, because good old Andy was very interesting. Obviously, second minute of the game, wonderful clearance from that cross to stop Harry Kane from making it 1-0 super early on. One of the 2 real chances that Spurs had all game. Fantastic. But then he was the main culprit for one of the moments where Spurs could have or should have done more with, but Reguilon, unfortunately for us, messed up the low cross, and that was just really poor by Christensen. But aside from that, I suppose he didn't really do anything wrong. So it's a bit of a tricky one for me to rate it because that was a really bad mistake, but I suppose it didn't actually cost us in the end. So then it's like, how do you rate the mistake then? But you know what? I'll let you go first, Con. Where would you roughly place Christensen's rating?
Between Kepa's and Thiago Silva. I know he had that sort
really?
of mistake.
That high?
Yeah, because I don't put that mistake solely on Christensen. I think he got a bit exposed there. And I think that's just us being crap. I'm going to be honest with you. And I think if Thiago Silva didn't have the game he did, I think a lot more people would be saying, oh, Christensen was one for man of the match. He was outstanding today. So it's a bit sad for him that Thiago Silva is Thiago Silva. So I think probably an 8.5 for me, I think would be fair. I think he was really good.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Let's see what the other guys have to say, and then we'll come to a final rating. So Shayan, would you agree with Con? As high as 8.5 or potentially even higher? Or do you reckon that mistake, was a bit more? Because Con is not wrong. Aside from the mistake, he was very good. And maybe without Thiago Silva being that good, and also the central centre-back always, especially when there's a lot of crosses to be cleared, the central centre-back will always have the most responsibility. So if the central centre-back has a good game, he will always stand out the most, if that makes sense. But I do think the mistake was a bit poor. He just got dragged a bit too much by Dele Alli. But Shayan, what did you make of Christensen today?
No, I think I'd reiterate the same things as Con, and that'd get kind of boring. It's just different accents if I were to say the same thing. That's the only difference. But yeah, I think 8.5 is quite fair. Not to say, again, none of this, we all know I'm a Chelsea fan, okay? So this isn't a bad thing. It's just like he seemed a little bit off today, but it's not a bad thing because when you win 3-0 and he seems a little bit off, imagine when he's on his day. So yeah, I think there's just a little bit off in Christensen's game, but it's not a big deal when you got Poppy Thiago Silva next to you, so it's not a big problem.
That is true. That is very true. Pice, what about you then? What did you make of Christensen, and what rating would you give him?
I thought it was really good, to be fair, especially the cross early on in the game. I don't know who crossed it, but he stretched and almost stopped a certain goal. It was really early on. But yeah, I see comments saying 7.58. Definitely for me, it's going to be 8.5 like Con. I thought he was really solid, very good on the ball, progressed us well, defended well, I think, for a majority of the game. Yeah, he was playing up against Kane as well, him and Silva. So, I mean, did anyone even see Kane today? I forgot he was on the pitch. There was a lot of build-up saying, it's Kane versus Lukaku. And we'll come to Lukaku because I actually thought he played really, really well. I thought, barring not scoring a goal, but, I mean, the service was pretty shocking to him. But, yeah, I mean, Christensen was very, very good, I thought. From what I noticed, he won a lot of his duels as well. I thought he was very aggressive, as he has been the last few months. And yeah, he's just so good on the ball, bro. All 3 defenders are so good on the ball, and that's why, as well as defending, it makes it look so easy sometimes. Because early on when Spurs were trying to press us, we was playing out of them, especially in the second half. Once we grew into the game, every time they'd come close, we just get out of it and then switch the play out wide and just use the advantage of the pitch. So yeah, I saw Tuchel say as well, like he was screaming. I think one of the reporters said on Twitter that like he wanted Christensen and I think it was Silva or Aspi, one of them, to switch the play more, and like we instantly did that because we was just passing around the back a little bit too much. But once we used the width, I thought we played really, really well and just dominated them in the end.
I mean, I'm outvoted. I mean, it's 3 against me. I probably would have agreed with the comment earlier of giving Andy a 7.5, maybe an 8. I think 8.5 is maybe slightly pushing it. But if there's 3 of you saying 8.5, then you're getting that one. I'm just thinking about it because of Rüdiger, who we're going to get to next. Christensen has a very long name. Couldn't you have a shorter name, lads? Anyway, because Rüdiger, he didn't really have that much to do in a way defensively, because having kind of Lo Celso out on the right, sure, Alonso was still kind of threatened by their right back, by Emerson, but kind of our left side of centre back didn't really have that much to do in a weird way. Maybe you guys will disagree with me, but especially the first half, and everyone was bad, and I was tweeting like, except Thiago Silva and Kepa, everyone's kind of been dreadful here, and I've still firmly believed that by half time. Rüdiger, I couldn't really include in bad or good because I could barely noticed him in the first half. But then obviously scored a goal, and that's why I'm a bit struggling with the 8.5 for Christensen, because Rüdiger didn't really do anything, but also didn't do anything wrong, unlike Christensen in that one moment, but also scored. So I'm like, I wouldn't want Rüdiger to get a 9, but I think because he scored and he was part of the clean sheet, I think he has to be higher than Christensen then, or is that the part where you guys disagree with me, that he has to be higher than Christensen? Maybe you'll go lower. So, Cheyenne, let me go with you first this time. So you can't say, we'll just say the same thing again, just with different accent. I want to hear it firsthand. What would you make of Antonio Rüdiger then today?
I mean, it really was the cherry on the top of that celebration at the end. I mean, that celebration was making me feel some sort of way, and I wasn't sure what kind of way I was supposed to feel. And so, yeah, I'd say he's probably, I mean, if Thiago Silva's a 10, he's kind of in the middle of Christensen and Silva. I'd say like a 9 or 9.5, either or is fine. I felt like he had a flawless performance, had that shithousery on the next coming of Maicon and Emerson or whatever his name is. I forgot. But yeah, he played really well, and I liked how he played against Tottenham. Always is up for it at their stadium, always getting them riled up, just like Marcus Alonso. So I'd say like a 9 or 9.5.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Con, would you agree? Would you go higher with Rüdiger than Christensen because of the goal?
Probably, because if you score, you probably deserve a higher rating. And I don't think Rüdiger put a foot wrong today. And it was his recovery as well that stopped that mistake from Christensen. I think people just need to understand with Christensen, like, he took out the top goal scorer and assister from last season and gave him nothing. I think that's where people fail to realize how good of a Christensen like he was this game, because if you shut down a player like Kane and give him nothing, you deserve plaudits for that. But obviously, because Thiago Silva, Rüdiger scored, etc., people are just going to be sort of blindsided to that. But Rüdiger, for me, happy giving him a 9.
I mean, fair enough. I'll put it to you, Pice. The one thing I will say, though, I think the way Tottenham played today, I mean, if Nuno couldn't try to play more against Harry Kane's strengths than how they played today. Like, you're playing all to Son's strengths, but you're basically trying to not get Harry Kane involved, in my opinion, with that kind of play style. Because as soon as they fed him, he's not the guy to like release it quick and run, and unless he releases it to Son, who makes the run. But he doesn't have the pace to get in behind himself. And then we were always just pressurizing him, and he was kind of the only player that couldn't get around us in the first half, and we just pushed him back. So he was just doing nothing. Partly down to Christensen, like you said, Con, but I would say, down to a lot of players, because he was all over the place and didn't do anything anywhere. But, I mean, you boys have agreed on a 9 so far. So, Pice, would you back that 9 for Rüdiger, or would you go different?
Yeah, I think like Con said, he's got to get a 9 because he scored, and I just thought he was flawless. I mean, while you guys are speaking, I was just looking up some of his stats. Loads of people post stats after the game. So, he won 100% of his aerial duels. He got, I think, 3 interceptions, 3 tackles, 0 fouls committed. So, like Shane said, it was really flawless from him. I just get to the point now where I just go into a game. Every game we go into, I'm just like, it's going to be an easy day for us, because we make it an easy day. Like, the defenders, the structures, like, the structure of our defense is just so good. And early on, I was like, you know what, maybe this could be a bit difficult because they were pressing us. I don't think we expected them to come with that game plan. I thought, probably, I think even Tuchel and probably the team thought it was just going to be like another typical Spurs sort of sit-down counter-attack, because they had Son back, and Son and Kane have been very good on the counter, but no, they really tried to go toe-to-toe with us. And as I said earlier, when the game grew more, I thought that's when it favoured us more, because once we got into control, obviously I prefer teams that will try and press us more, because I just feel like we can play out of it. And that's why the defenders are so good, because they're all so good on the ball. And the midfielders, Kovacic, Jorginho, you just can't get near us. So we play it so quickly. And that's what happened in the second half. So yeah, Rüdiger was a big part of that, playing out of the press, and just very impressive again. 9 for sure.
Fair dues. I was also just sent a stat here, which backs up what I said about Harry Kane, but also backs up what we've all agreed on with the centre backs or with the defenders. Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, and Marcos Alonso all had 5 touches in the opposition's box, while Harry Kane had 2 in our box. So that's a banner. But yeah, Rüdiger with a 9. Fair dues. Like I said, I probably would have gone a tad lower with Christensen and Rüdiger. But hey, I'm not here to complain. I'm here to be positive because we battered Tottenham 3-0. So I'm excited and I'm pleased. Let's get to Mr. Cesar Azpilicueta. The one thing I will say, should have had an assist, but would have had an unbelievable assist to an unbelievable goal if Kai pulls off that volley in the first half, because for Aspi to head that there is outrageous in my opinion. In general, Aspi, because the higher we get up the pitch, especially because we have to consider the first half as well, of course, the lower the ratings will probably get, because, especially higher up the pitch, we were really poor in the first half. And not saying Aspi was absolutely shocking or dreadful, but not on the same level as the back three, in my opinion. I mean, hey, especially Shayan, maybe you will disagree, but I would probably give Aspi like a 7, maybe like a 5 for the first half, maybe an 8 for the second half, if that. Maybe I'd go anywhere between a 6 and a 7, but maybe you're going to tell me I'm an idiot now. So let me go with you first this time, Pies. What would you give Aspi?
Yeah, this is quite a difficult one. I thought he played well. A few good balls into the box. Didn't really get exposed, really down the sides, because sometimes when he plays right wing back, I worry that, especially on counters, he hasn't really got the legs anymore as he used to. So, but no, I thought he was pretty good in possession. Always really the same, to be fair. Aspi's always been really good on the ball. Hence why he does play right centre back a lot of the time. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the other guys say, because it's quite difficult. Maybe I'll probably go like 7.5. I don't think he was
You just cut out there, I think. Not sure why. But let me just put it to you then, Con. Aspi, would you agree with what Pies has just tried to touch on, I suppose? Or would you go a bit lower than that?
I think I'm in agreement with you, Lawrence. It's hard. I don't know, because I didn't really see much of him today. I don't know if it's just me. Didn't really see much. So I think I agree with what you said. 5 for the first half, like 8 for the second. If that, I think around 7's fair. Don't think he had his greatest game. I don't think he was poor. Just didn't really see much of him, to be honest.
Hey, I think it's reasonable. So, Shayan, tell us how wrong we are because of how much you love him.
This is what I'm going to say. This is all I'm going to say. Just for my own good mental health for today, let's just give him a 7.5. We all call it even, and we move on with our lives.
But 7.5 is really pushing it, I think, with the first half.
He did so decent, man. The headers, the shit houser with the throw-ins, tucked in shirt. Like, bro, like, come on. Like, that's like the Azpilicueta special. I tuck in my shirt because he tucks in his shirt. This man is so professional.
You're a very funny man. So now we've had 2 7.5s. I think. Pies, are you back, by the way? Can you talk again? Can I hear you?
Yeah, I said 7.5 in the end.
Similar to what exactly.
Kind of didn't really see him that much, but I thought he played decent.
Yeah, gone.
No, yeah, I kind of said what Con said, basically. I didn't really see him as much, but he didn't really get exposed against Son. I thought he defended pretty well, and he was good on the ball as well. So,
I mean, I suppose I see what you're saying.
0.5.
So, Con, are we going to push up today at 7.5, or are we going to make them push down?
It's your channel, bro. Just remember that.
Put all the pressure on me again. Why do I get guests on? I have to do everything myself anyway. You know what? We're just going to be weird and do that. And then I don't have to do anything. Because we'll get to Alonso next, who in the first half was worse than Aspie, drastically worse. But in the second half was drastically better than Aspie. Not because Aspie was poor, but just Alonso was so involved in the second half. Obviously assisted a goal. Sure, I touched on this before. Definitely you, Pice, but maybe even before Cheyenne joined. I was like, people always have a go if it's just a set piece from just an assist from a set piece. I'm like, no, at least I have someone that can cross the ball properly from a set piece. And, we're used to Willian. So, in comparison to that, Alonso getting an assist from a corner, I'll bloody take it any day of the week. So I think Alonso has to be higher than Aspie, but because I don't want to give Alonso an 8, because I think that's maybe slightly pushing it, that's why I gave Aspie the 7.25, because I would give Alonso a 7.5, if that makes sense to anyone. Why don't I go with you first, Con? Would you agree with that sentiment, I suppose?
No, I get what you're saying. I just feel like Alonso's performance was an 8. I know he did kind of suck in the first half, but the second half, he was really good, man. And us as a fan base, we don't appreciate him enough. I know he's really slow. I know sometimes it looks like, I don't know, he's lagging when he's playing. But
that's so good, yeah.
But like he whipped in multiple good corners today. He could have got loads of assists from corners today. He was whipping them really nice. He had a shot blocked off the line. He had another sort of good shot blocked. True. He was so involved, and so I think an 8's more than fair to Alonso today.
To be honest, after what you just said, especially as being a bit unfortunate not to score as well, like you just touched on, which I kind of forgot about when I thought of that rating. I'm inclined to agree. To be honest, not sure whether that would change my Aspie rating, but yeah, why not? I mean, Pice might disagree with what you said about Alonso earlier, but let me go with you first then, Cheyenne. 8 for Alonso, you okay with that?
I am, but the one thing I want us to discuss is, you spoke about how Willian took corners for us. Now with Alonso being an absolute brilliant soul on corners, were we all wrong to not ever put Alonso on corners during the era when Alonso and Willian were on the same team? Because now I'm just recontemplating my life back then, thinking about, why was Willian taking these corners if Marcus Alonso just had a beautiful left boot that could always get it on someone's noggin? So it's like...
It's weird, isn't it? Because my explanation for that would be, at the time where Alonso still played regularly, it wasn't actually Willian taking the corners anyway. It was more Fabregas, right, under Kante. And then on Asari, Alonso didn't play all the time anyway. But also, if you have a back 4, you need Alonso more in the middle because you need extra height. But when we have 3 central defenders, you're okay with not having Alonso in the box for the corners, I suppose. That's the only thing I can think of as an explanation. But it is weird. Like, not only Alonso, we've also had Reece and Chile and Emerson last season take corners. It's a bit of a thing that we let our wing-backs, or full-backs take corners these days.
It's hip now. We're trying to become trendsetters. Because then everyone else is going to... We started the 3-back. Everyone started doing it. We're going to start making our outside backs take corners. Everyone's going to start doing it. We're just trendsetters. This is how it goes. But yeah, I'd say an 8. That's basically what I was just going to finish off to.
Fair play. We also have the comment here by SA. Alonso, 90.4 passing accuracy, second highest for Chelsea. I wonder behind who? Thiago, probably? Oh, Thiago had a few long balls which didn't come off, so maybe Rüdiger? I'm not sure. SA, if you know who had the highest, please do inform me, because Jorginho had quite a low one for his standards in the first half, so I presume he didn't go up to above 90 in the second half. But Pice, I know you've been usually quite critical of Alonso, so would you go today then lower than 8, or would you... I mean, you're probably going to have to agree anyway because it's 3 against 1. But I'm just wondering what you think as yourself.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I'm going to have to go higher than Aspie just because he did get involved in the second half a bit more. He ended up being a striker almost, which is fair enough. He had the decent volley, to be fair, and yeah, I don't know what it is with Alonso, man. I've just never rated him. Like, I just don't want him starting personally. I've always been the same, literally always. No, I really grew to love Chilwell last season, and the fact that every single Premier League game now he seems to be on the bench is like, it's really annoying me. But I mean, and everyone's like, oh yeah, well, Alonso's not done anything to be dropped. Well, okay, but Chilwell's still the better player, right? Surely you don't disagree with that. So surely you still start your best players. Like, I just don't see I don't see the next Premier League game. Like Man City, no, I don't want Alonso playing, especially after the Champions League final, what Chilwell done. But again, it's going to be hard because now we're in a position where Chilwell hasn't really played any minutes. So when do you get him minutes? Like, do you play him in midweek? Like, do you start in midweek and then against City? Like, that would probably be the perfect thing. But, you know, it's going to be difficult to introduce a player who's been out so long back into the side that's performing so well. But at the same time, I want him back in there because I feel like we'll be so much better going forward with him. I really, really do. Honestly, he's still a goal threat as well. Like, honestly, if he got into some of those positions Alonso played today, I reckon he would have scored one or at least set up one. Honestly, he's very good going forward. Very underrated, Chilwell. So, yeah, I don't like Alonso starting, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But fair play to him. The second half, he was decent.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I would agree. So we have Alonso with his 8 there. SA did inform us that Mount and Werner had 100% pass accuracy. Obviously, Werner didn't play that much. I suppose Mount only played a half either, but we're going to get to Mount's rating soon. And I didn't quite expect him to have 100% passing accuracy. That's an interesting one. Very interesting one. But let's get to our midfield two today. What Pice told us when he came on about what Thomas Tuchel said at halftime. I think Kovacic was one of the culprits that was a bit too like, I'm going to just dribble past everyone rather than, keep getting a bit of control in the first half. He was one of the people that I would have liked to sub off at halftime. But, Kante coming on for Mount, also have Kovacic drastically, and his second half was a lot better. So it's a tough one. But, Shayan, what would we give Kovacic? I would probably give it a bit like I would have said with Aspie, a 5 for the first half, maybe an 8 for the second half, and then I end up at somewhere between of us, or maybe a 6 for the first half, I suppose. So I would probably end up around a 7 for cover. Although, that's because the second half went so well and we scored 3 goals. With how the first half went, you could also argue like a 6.5 in my opinion. But hey, I'm intrigued to hear what would you think, Shah?
I would say 7. The thing that frustrated me the most is when Lukaku had that perfect layoff to him. And for some bizarre reason, he didn't do what he did against Villa and just hit it first time, far post. Instead, he took like 3-4 touches and then narrowed down the angle for him. I was so confused by that. I was
He's
like,
on his weak foot, bro.
What was that?
It's just cover. He can't score. I know he did the other week, but he just can't.
I know, but I'd expect better from a 4-time winning Champions League midfielder like himself. I mean, the guy's got pedigree, as Jose Mourinho would always say in the Champions, but I'd say 7. It's very simple. He had a decent game, did the usual Kova thing, bobbing and weaving and out, and then I just wish he scored. That would have been pretty nice to see.
That would have been nice to see. But Pice, would you agree on a 7 for cover?
No, way too low. I thought he was outstanding today.
You can't tell me you thought he was good in that first half. He was awful.
Bro, I thought he was very, very good. Genuinely, I didn't think our midfield was the problem. It was more our defense pushing out. So
why did you give our defender such high ratings then?
Because there was only like two moments even in the first half where we could have been like, oh, we need to make a change here. It wasn't anything drastic. Like, people were reacting about the first half. The first half problem was those 2 times where I think it was one where Rüdiger pushed out. And I can't remember the other one. But the main problem in the first half was the forwards. Like, we should have been going into half time like 2 or 3-0 up. Like, especially the Mount one. That pass was terrible.
No, I mean, you can maybe say 2-2, but if you're gonna expect us to score goals, they could have scored goals.
No. I'll have to re-show you the footage if I can find what I mean. There wasn't anything drastic. Like, it wasn't clear-cut chances like we could have had.
I just don't think we had anywhere near enough control about a team like Tottenham, who we are drastically better at in pretty much every position of the pitch. And our midfield had no control.
Jorginho was doing all right, to be fair.
Like I said, I also thought Jorginho was better than Kova, but Kova was just constantly dribbling. But
he won 7 tackles and 7 ground duels today.
Yeah, like, but how many of those were in the first half? 1? I'm not disagreeing that he was great in the second half.
For us. And he's got 4 goals assists this season as well now.
Yeah, but we're not rating the season, mate. We're rating the game.
I'm telling you, every single game he's played for us, he's been incredible. I don't know what people are watching. Like,
no. First half today, I disagree. Let's see what Con has to say as well. What is what?
Yeah, he just dribbles past people. Like, he's one of the best dribblers in the world.
So who did you think Tuchel was talking about when saying we were playing too much like individuals?
Mount
Because
and
to me, that
Havertz.
screamed cover for the first half.
Mount and Havertz.
What? They barely touched the ball.
No, every time we went forward, they were doing flicks and tricks the whole time. Did you not see it during the first half?
No, of course, but that's not enough to be, called for play like individuals.
Nah. I mean, anyway, we're going off topic. I thought Kovacic was very, very good today, and I thought he's been outstanding this season so far. And I don't think like any Chelsea fan can disagree with that. He's so consistent. He was everywhere for us. He was doing defensive work, attacking work. Even in the first half, when we was sometimes getting the ball in midfield and we was just playing out wide, there was one situation where Cover had the ball. He was just about to pass it wide, and then he looked up and he played a nice little ball into Lukaku, which started an attack. And that's the thing that he's done different for us this season. Well, we have to give him more praises because he's so much more progressive with his passing now.
No, I agree with all of those things, but I think we also have to, or at least from my perspective, should be also objective with his first half, which was poor. That doesn't take away from how good his second half was.
What did he do wrong? What did he do wrong in the first half? I didn't know.
Not help us gain control against a team that's not as good as us, and that's his job.
No, but Jorginho's the one for the control, bro, not Kovacic.
No, because no player can do it by himself. Like,
no, but
that's impossible.
Jorginho can though. We build up through Jorginho, and Kovacic is a box to box. It's not both help control. You know what I mean? It's not,
of course they
Kovacic
do.
doesn't drop deep to get the ball. It's different. Jorginho is the one who does that.
If you think he shouldn't have helped us gain control, then he was even worse because he should have done. Because when we don't have control and Jorginho isn't giving us enough control by himself, shouldn't the other midfielder help him gain more of it back?
Well, to be honest with you, if you're talking about that, I didn't really notice any moments where we was under threat. Like it was, unless you can get me a clip of where that happened, I just didn't see it personally in the game. I didn't think the midfield was the problem.
I mean, hey, fair dues. We're here to have different opinions. So, I mean, Cheyenne, I suppose, kind of agree with me. So, I mean, but maybe you want to add more to it. But Con, what about you? Did you think Cover was better than I thought in the first half? Because I think we can all agree he was very good in the second half.
I think he was. And the way I remember, right, is every time Kovacic does something well, I always go, I love you, Kovacic. And I said that about 4 times in the first half. So he must have done something right. I think with a bit of a mess in midfield, I get your point, Laurenz. He should have helped us get more control. And yeah, he was trying to be too much of an individual. But then again, with Kai and Mason playing so poorly, I feel like he felt like he needed to do more, So I felt for him at times. I think somewhere around 7.5 to 8-ish is fair. I think he was, again, really good today. Not a perfect performance, but still really good.
I mean, I'm baffled by what both of you guys saw in the first half, but hey ho. Pies, what rating would you have actually given Cover overall then?
It's difficult because second half I thought he was fantastic, and first half I don't really get this whole individual thing because he was just everywhere. Like he's got such an engine, bro. Like, yeah, I thought he was just everywhere for us. I thought he was helping out more than you guys think, but yeah, I'm gonna go with like 8.5, something like that.
Okay, so Cheyenne and myself would have said 7. Con would have said 7.5, 8, right? Mm-hmm. And Pi said 8 to 8.5. So now I don't know what to do. I suppose.
I just don't get.
I suppose 7.5 then.
I don't get it. He was so good. I don't understand this. 7 point. So you're telling me he's the same rating as Aspie? Like, do you know how hard he worked?
No, like, Aspie 7.25.
Oh my god, you can't, bro.
I'm very intrigued what we're going to say about Jorginho now because I thought Jorginho was but less doing anything in the second half. Just that we were overall better. But in the first half, I thought it was quite a bit better. So I'm very intrigued. What we're going to say about that one now. So Cheyenne, what about Jorginho then? Would you would you go higher than Cover? Would you go lower than Cover?
I'd say maybe it's about the same or slightly worse. I'd say maybe a 7.
7 for Jorginho today.
We're losing it today. It's a madness. I love it.
Yes, for today. Yes.
But elaborate.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought he just it was an average Jorginho performance. Not to say it was a bad performance, but he kept the ebb and flow in the game. But as Pies was mentioning, I mean, that's Jorginho's role, is to keep the flow of the game going for Chelsea offensively, defensively, things like that, connecting the two pieces together. And I felt he didn't do it like amazingly in the first half, obviously because Tottenham were more in it. Second half was a little bit better because we had a little bit more possession, it was a little more counterattack. But I'd probably just say a bang average 7 would be fine. He won some of his duels, he lost some of his duels. It was just a decent performance by him.
I mean, I would have actually agreed. I know Con is outraged, but just for me, it would have been like he was better in the first half, but he was not as good as Con in the second half. So in the end, both are 7. That's what if it was just me, that's what I would have given them both. But Con, you were so outraged. So tell me first of all, what would you have given cover, or what do you want to give cover, and also why?
Cover, you mean Jorginho?
Sorry, Jorginho. Yeah, my bad.
I'd give Jorginho an 8. I think 8's fair. He was better than Kovacic today. And the thing is, you don't control the second half like you do without Jorginho. No, he was better than Kovacic today. I'm not hearing it.
Kovacic is everywhere, bro.
This is the thing. This is the English fucking thing coming out again, where you see a player running, he's dribbling. But Jorginho, this is why he's not appreciated in this country, man, because nobody controls the game in that second half like Jorginho. If he's not on the pitch, that control isn't there like that. We're really underrating what he does for this team. He gets it. Great control every time. Tell me when you ever see Jorginho take a bad touch, regardless what pass it is. And he passed it off and he keeps it moving. He did that the whole second half. No, and he sprayed diagonals. No, he had a much better than 7. A 7's like just above average. It was above average today. We beat Spurs 3-0. How is that? How are you telling me the guy holding that together is only a 7 when you win 3-0 away at Tottenham? Please tell me, because I'm struggling to think. Is it because he didn't run enough? He didn't clock a high enough speed? Well, where's the issue, lads?
I mean, obviously, like I said, I would have also given Cover a 7. So if we give Cover 7.5, I would.
But you said you thought
be happy
Jorginho was
to give
better
Jorginho
today.
a 7. No. But let me finish. I would then give Jorginho also 7.5. Hey, you think he was better? Fair enough. I wouldn't give him lower than Cover either.
No, you said he was better before we did Kovacic. You said I think Jorginho was the better from the two today
in the first half.
So then,
In the second half, I thought Cover was better.
Because Jorginho didn't need to. Like, he was chilling and controlling the game.
Sure. Like I said, I'm not trying to, like I said, I think a 7 is a reasonable performance in a game where 2 of our centre-backs scored and Kante. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you can't be too, like, sure, we had control, but we only had control in the second half. And what I want our midfield to do is give control. So I just wouldn't have gone as high in general. But I see what you're saying. I don't think I disagree with your sentiment on Jorginho Cover against each other today, Colin. I'm just not sure I would go that high, but I don't think we're not far off each other. But Cheyenne,
just because the first half, sorry, interrupt. So just because of the first half.
Yeah. Well, what do you mean just because of the first half? Like I said, if I split it in rating for the first half and rating for the second half, I would probably give Jorginho a 7 for each. I know you would go higher, but that's what I would do. And I'd give Cover a 6 and an 8 and end up at a 7. That's what I would have done. But Cheyenne, let's get some calm. It's very funny that 2 English guys were telling each other what English guys think. It's very funny. But, so us 2 non-English guys, Cheyenne, let's see if we can make some sense of what the English guys are saying here. What would you have given Jorginho? Or did you tell me a rating already and I forgot?
Yeah, I said 7. I agreed with you, but as the American, I'm the one who's like, oh, he's not big enough, he's not strong enough, he's not fast enough, and
the inner year there. Let's go.
So I don't get me wrong, like Jorginho was good, but it's like this wasn't his game. Like there's certain games where Jorginho like excels in, and this wasn't one that he needed to excel in. It's not a bad thing. It's because the defense decided to excel in this game. Like different games have different players that are prioritized and excel the most in, and that you can see clearly who are the man of the matches. In this game, it was the defense that ended up being the ones that came in trumps for Chelsea in today's match. And not again, Jorginho and Kovacic, for the both of you, they're both brilliant souls. We love them as much as we love each other, and they both are great. It don't make no difference who was slightly better today versus the other. They were both great. And I just think maybe a Jorginho 7. If we want, we can give them both a 7.5 and then let bygones be bygones.
Just
see, I think you said something. Gone.
I was going to say, what I don't get is we had a clean sheet away at Tottenham, and you're saying the guys in the middle of the park were average. No, it's just if that was true,
7.5 is not average though.
No, he literally just said
above average.
He literally just said average. That's what I'm saying now. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I could be a bit biased. I love Georgie. I just really.
But you know, I
appreciate
do too. So
Yeah. I feel
I
like
just feel like we all do, to be fair.
I do quickly because I want to put it allow Pies to say his thing in comparison to Jorginho and Kova as well. I do think Shayan made a really good point in just a sense. Not everyone has to be incredible to win 3-0, if that makes sense. You know, someone can be good, and Kovacic and Jorginho both were good, maybe very good if you won, but they weren't like outrageously good, like the back three, for example, in my opinion. So, and I think giving them both a 7.5, for example, is nothing outrageous, nothing to be like, oh, how harsh. But, you know, hey, you know, we're here to discuss it. So it's good fun, in my opinion, Pies. So why do you specifically think Kova was just better than Jorginho in comparison to what the other guys said already now?
As I said, bro, I just thought he was literally everywhere. Every time the camera zoomed in, it was Kovacic mopping up. And they were very close to each other today. Like I just thought he was everywhere. Like it was like a Kante performance. He was driving forward, but at the same time, on the other end, a lot of the criticisms for Kovacic are, oh, he can't really defend, you know, on transitions, you know, blah 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 blah. He gets exposed. Similar to what people said about Jorginho, but
none of us said that about Kovacic today, though.
No, but you're not. In your rating, you didn't say Kovacic did really well defensively today. Not one person mentioned that. He won 6 ground duels, 6 tackles. Like,
how many did Jorginho win?
I don't know. I've not checked.
Yeah, but that's relevant, though.
No,
like if
I'm
you're going to
not
say
talking
that's why
about
Kova
Jorginho.
was better, you can't check for one and not for the other.
I'm not saying who's better, bro. I thought Kovacic was just
sorry.
round like an amazing performance. Like, I know.
But what would you rate Georgie then? Would you give Georgie then, like,
I don't know, because they're different roles, bro. It's so hard. Like, I could give Jorginho a 10 for controlling the game, while I could give Kovacic a 10 for his overall game, defensive and attacking wise. Like, I don't know. It's difficult. Not one was better than each other, in my opinion. I just thought they did their roles so well. Like, and that's why they're so good together in the midfield, because they gel well. Like, I've never got this whole Jovicic's crap thing. I just think they're both.
Oh, neither have I. I agree with that.
Like, I think they're both brilliant when they play together. Like, and there's such different styles of football that I can't say, oh, one did more than the other. Like, if you focus more on Jorginho, you're going to think Jorginho did more because you're constantly watching him. That's the thing with Jorginho. Him making angles, him progressing the ball, him picking the ball up, him dropping deep. Whereas if you watch Kovacic more, you're going to notice he's running about, he's going forward, he's tracking back, he's switching the play. Like, it's mix and match. Like, I don't know. It's so hard. They're like,
to be honest, like, I think all of the things you're saying are pretty much spot on. Like, I don't think you're wrong with a word of what you said here. Hence why I would have given them both the same rating, because they both did certain things very good and certain things they could have been better at. Like Jorginho's pass accuracy in the first half was 83 point something, which for his standards is not as good as it usually is. While Kovacic, in my opinion, I just remembered one of the things that I think he didn't do as well. I think he had a few heavy touches that put him into positions where he could have progressed the ball better. And I was like, this is not the Kovacic I saw, especially last week against Villa, until he scored. After that, he messed up a couple of times again. But there was just like a few things that wouldn't let me give them, like, say, an 8 or a 9, but still doesn't mean that they were bad by any means at all. The problem is now that myself and Shayan, probably just to make it even with Kova, would say 7.5. Con would go higher. Pies would probably go 7 just because we gave Kova 7.5. So in the end, do we just end up giving both 7.5, even though Con and Pies are both not happy with this? Is this where we end up now? Because I think we are.
I think so, yeah. I think
we have to, I think it's difficult to give one higher than the other when they're just such different players, yet they gel so well. Like,
maybe we should just pretend we have 10 players and just always call them Jovicic, because so many times we end up giving them the same rating. It's funny.
No, but that's the thing, right, Laurenz? This whole Jovicic thing, people like rate them together. That's because they are so close to each other. Like, they are like, that's why they've got that tag, Jovicic, right? Because they're not really they're two individual players, but they just gel so well together. So people just mix them together, you know what I mean? Like, match them up. Like, that's why they just play so good together most of the time. Like, that's what it is.
I mean, fair play. What I've noticed is, I think, at least me, I'm not quite sure about Shayan, but at least me, I seemingly thought the first half was worse than both Con and Pies did. I think that's what we're gathering here. With you wanting to give slightly higher ratings than me, I just thought the first half was really quite bad. But, you know, in the end, we're not far off. And now we're getting to the funny business, because I saw a lot of people in the chat already telling me I only love Mount. Well, you're in for a treat here, because I would give Mount nothing higher than a 4, and that's a push. And the same goes for Kai Havertz, because what I didn't like today is how people try to pick on Mount as if he was like worse than Kai. No, they were both equally as shit as each other. They were both absolutely god-awful. They really were, in every sense of the word. Kai's touches were awful. Kai's runs and movement was awful. And Mount's decision-making was awful. Mount put a shift in some other things that Kai didn't, but then Kai was a bit more of an outlet in other things. But essentially, they were both nowhere near good enough. And I probably would give them both a 4. But just because we won 3-0, I feel like anything lower is a bit ridiculous. But maybe you could give Kai a little bit higher just because he was on longer, but is that Mount's fault? Because I think if Kante comes on for Havertz, everything's identical in the second half. I don't think anything changes whether you take the other one off instead. I just think they were both absolutely dreadful. So, hey, you know, that's that for me today. But I heard a sigh there, Pice. Do you disagree?
I was yawning, bro. I'm tired.
Sorry.
No, I do agree. I mean, I thought they're both pretty bad, and I was tweeting, like, why didn't we just give Werner a chance? Because the one thing that Werner really did do last season was, yeah, his finishing's terrible, showed again today, but what else did he show you? Every time we got, like, these 2-on-1, 3v3s, 3v2 situations, like last season as well, especially, right? He was always finding the pass. Like, he was getting a lot of assists. And what happened today? The Mount one, oh, my God. Like, he could have passed Kai or Lukaku, and when he passed Lukaku, it was behind him. And I know he's trying to set up his left foot, but still, like, come on. Like, genuinely, there's so many situations.
Although I still think, I mentioned this before you joined, I still think not all of that is on Mount. Because if Kai just makes a run, like Timo would have done in their same position, Kai, I don't understand why he didn't run. Because he would have dragged the defender, would have given Mount so much more space, and actually would have made the left side a real option, because the whole thing made it so obvious that he only could pass to Lukaku. Sure, the pass to Lukaku was awful. No one's disagreeing with that. But it made it so only one option that Kai didn't run, which is one of the reasons why
Laurenz,
that's why they're both poor.
Laurenz, later on, like, I know it's a very, very short clip, but later on in the clip, if you play it back, I do agree. Kai was eventually not an option, but right when Mount was through, I think it was Romero facing back. The other defender, I'm not sure who it is. There's a picture of it, but if Mount just looks up, Kai's literally in. Like, there's no one near him. But then later on, when he kept running, and eventually just before he passed Lukaku, that's when Havertz wasn't an option. So it's a difficult one, but I still think, again, it's one of those where we're starting to put together every match day 2 or 3 scenes where we could score and we don't make the right option, or the option just doesn't come out good enough. There was another one where Havertz was in a central position. Lukaku literally was pointing, he's making the run, and I don't know what happened. It was just, I think we went out wide or something. But again, just why is it not clicking? You know what I mean? Like, just click. It's so annoying. We haven't got time for this to happen this season. Like, this is not a development season. We've got two out of our 3 attackers who are still in the development stage. Like, yeah, Kai and Mount are very good players, but they're still in development stage. They've still got things they need to work on, and that's the only worrying thing. I mean, for me, is like, we've got other attackers, but I just want to find that attack that clicks. But then if you're Tuchel, you know, you're going to say, well, I'm going to keep playing these because then we need to build chemistry. Like, it's such a weird argument to have. Like, there's both arguments for both sides of the story. Like, we've got to pick an attack eventually that we continue with. But at the same time, like, this first half, I'm not a big fan of Werner, but I'm screaming for him to come on. Even Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side, like, just anyone, because those two were just so bad, like, in the decision making. Like, you know, even the volley that Havertz had, like, take a touch, man. Like, what's going on?
It's a bit weird. Also, but one of the other things that baffles me is I don't understand why they play this way around. I think that both of them would be better. Mount would be better on the left, and Kai's better on the right.
100%.
So that's another thing that I don't really understand. But so overall, would you be okay with giving both of them a 4, Pice?
I mean, 4 or 5. I mean, 5's pretty bad. 4's really bad. I don't know.
I think they were really bad.
Yeah, I do agree. I thought I don't know. I still think they were. I don't know. I don't want to give like a 4 because 4 is like you're not trying kind of thing. Like they were trying. They were getting in good areas. It was just the final
Yeah,
bit.
I mean, oh, sure. If you say 4 means not trying, then I would agree. But I
mean, like
I would
Laurenz,
always say they're at least trying.
Laurenz, do you remember? I think what game was it? Do you remember we gave like Ziyech a 4 in one of the cup games, and we was like, he just didn't try. That's why we gave him 4. That's what I was going off. I think it was like I don't know what cup game it was, but yeah, it was terrible.
I let if now watch depending on what Cheyenne and Kante, I will let myself be pushed to a 5, but no higher than that for either of them. But let me go with you then, Cheyenne. Did you also think they were as bad as I did, or what rating would you give them? 5?
I mean, I said I thought Mount was kind of poo-poo today, but yeah, I'd say a 5. When you said 4, I thought that was a little on the harsh side. I think they're both a 5. The only thing that edges it maybe for me for Havertz is that he was on longer, but that's, I mean, Mount just got subbed off sooner, so what difference does it make? Yeah, both a 5, I'd say. Both were decent.
Decent. I'm not sure about any. I at the 5 I conceded. Decent. I'm not so sure. Con, what about you? Would you go 5? Would you go 4? Would you go higher? Would you go lower? What do you say?
I'd give him a 2 and be lucky with that. Now, I'm not gonna lie. When would you ever see Salah and Mane having like equally as bad as a half as that? You'll never see it. I promise you. Like, I don't want any excuse to that. It's like a bad day for the office, fairs, but they were shit. Like,
Yeah.
call a spade a spade. Like, Mason Mount was horrible. Kai was horrible. 5's average, right? It's half of 10. So it's like average performance. How's that? That ain't a 5.
That's why I would have said 4.
Yeah, I don't care if they're trying. Like, they're trying. They ain't trying hard enough, clearly. Still's arse. We know how good they are as well. That's the thing. Like, were they
That is a
really
very
trying?
funny stream.
Like, Mount was pressing people, and Ndombele was just passing for fun, man. Like, stop running around and actually be intelligent. Use your head, you know? Like,
That was one other thing, by the way, what I didn't like about Cover. Cover was absolutely done by Ndombele every time first half. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you would have gone 2, a genuine 2, or would you more like 3?
I'd give Mount a 2 and Kai a 3 just because Kai played longer. If it was the other way around, I'd probably do the same.
Okay.
I just
So
think
we're
Kai
having-
was a little bit better, but...
So I suppose in the end we end with my 4s then, because, you know, Cheyenne and Pies would have said 5, you said 2 or 3, and I would have said 4. So I suppose we end up with 4. Or do we do 4.5 just because we have 2 people on 5s? Probably. So
That's close
do
to
that.
average. That's close to average, though. You're not telling me that's an average performance. No.
I'm not, but the other guys are. So what can I do?
I'm fuming. 4.5, really, for that?
All right, I can't have Con fuming. You know, I love him too much. So 4 it is. I can't have that. Let's get to Lukaku, because that's another interesting discussion quickly, even though this is already dragging on a bit. But there's just a lot to talk about today, and also we're 4 people. Because Pies said Lukaku was really good. I thought Lukaku was really, very good in the second half. But I think in the first half, while not being the main problem or culprit by any means at all, I do think there was moments where he could have done a little bit better. And he didn't score. The one header he could have scored from. Aside from that, I can't really blame him for not scoring. And he should have had an assist for Werner. So, you know, I'd probably give Lukaku, in comparison to the rest of the things we've said, 7, maybe, like a slightly above average performance.
Alonso has an 8, but Lukaku has a 7.
Yes, because Alonso was way more influential. Lukaku's barely touched the ball.
No chance, bro. Lukaku, he was picking the ball up all the time and playing it out wide. No chance is he lower than
again. You seem to, like, in my opinion, you just ignored the first half.
No, I'm sorry, no chance.
The first half, I think Lukaku, my commentator said he had 8 touches while Kane had like 17.
I don't care.
Not saying, again, this is not Lukaku's fault, but he can't have done so many good things with 8 touches now, can he?
I mean, to be fair, he did do one really good thing in the first half, down near the touchline. He beat like 2 players and then put a ball in.
And he played a great cross, which nearly ended in something.
Yeah, we nearly got to, I don't know, was it Alonso or something? But
probably Alonso, yeah.
I mean,
but like I said, I'm not saying, like I said 7 here. You're saying as if I'm saying 5. Like I said 7.
No, but I thought he was really, really involved. Like, again, like everything. I just thought he was the outlet. We were playing balls into him. Yeah, everything went through Lukaku, I think. So, yeah, I thought definitely higher than a 7. Like, if Alonso's like Alonso 8 is just, it makes me sick, honestly. Oh my god.
All right, Con, what about you then? What would you have given Lukaku? I presume this means then you would have given him an 8, Pies? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, at least if Alonso's an 8.
At least. All right,
At
calm
least.
down now. All right, you need to relax.
Bro,
you need to
imagine
relax.
we
You
didn't
can't-
play with a striker today. We would
He
have
had
sucked.
one chance, and a
We
few
would
of the
have
times
sucked.
dribbled over his own feet, and
I don't
the
care. He's
pass
the
back to
outlet.
Mount also
He's
wasn't
the
very
outlet
good.
we needed. He's the outlet we needed. If we didn't have a proper striker, you would have sucked us today.
Now I understand why you always wanted to give Giroud an 8 when he didn't do anything.
Because he's an outlet, bro. Like he's
Yeah, but
he's a
that's
Chelsea
and
striker,
what?
bro.
Just because he's tall, he's not getting a rating.
No, but Lukaku's so good on the ball now, bro. Like I don't understand.
No, I
He's
agree
so
with
good on
that.
the ball.
I'm not saying he's not, but to say at least an 8 is outrageous.
He should have
Without
had 2
scoring for a
assists.
striker.
He should have had 2 assists, by the way. Alonso, the
Should
dumbass,
have
got
done.
in his way when the bloody cross came in, and
But Alonso
went
also
for
should have
like
had
5
2 assists and a goal potentially without Lloris's great save.
Yeah, but other than that, he was pretty shit. So
Nah. But
He was
Con,
shit.
what
Even
would you give
earlier,
Lukaku today?
Laurenz, even earlier, you said someone said Havertz wasn't really making runs. Havertz made like 4 runs down the left side, and Alonso just played it back every time to Rudiger. Like,
Because if he would have given it to Havertz on Havertz's form today, he would have messed it up anyway. But
no, that's hypothetical. It's like
obviously, I'm joking. But Pies, honestly, let me move on because we're going to be here forever. Otherwise, Con, what would you have said about Lukaku today?
If he ended with like the 2-3 assists he could have got today, he could have been like an 8 or 9. But as for how football works, if you don't get these goal contributions, your rating isn't as high. It's just how football is, isn't it? And the only reason I'll give him a 7 today and not 8, because I thought he was really good, is he needs to be more selfish. I love the fact that he's trying to play people in, but please, you're the only guy in this team who's guaranteed goals. Just take more shots yourself.
Like, we talked about the whole counter-attack with Mount earlier. Don't even pass it back in the middle to Mount. There was 4 people on Mount. Why are you trying to pass the back? Just smack it. It's not like he wasn't in a position to try. Maybe it wouldn't have gone in, sure, but I still think him trying would have been the better decision in that moment than passing it back to Mount. Obviously, that's not what I'm deciding the rating on. I'm just saying it was one moment where I'm like, shoot, like just agreeing with Con here. But so did you just say 7 as well, or did you say 8, or what did you say? Sorry,
I did say 7, but someone did make a good point in the chat and it said he wasn't worse than Aspie, and I'm inclined to agree with that, to be honest. I don't think he was worse than Aspie today.
Okay, so 7.5 then. I'm not too. I wouldn't be too displeased if we gave him a 7.5.
Yeah, I'd be happy with 7.5.
Cheyenne, what about you?
I was kind of worried about my prediction of what I was gonna say. I thought he was like a 6.57, and everyone's gonna bite my head off for that.
So I suppose in the end we do end up on Con 7.5 because I would have said 7. You 6.57.
Well, the thing is, Pies, Alonso got an assist. Like that's like I understand like shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like Lukaku.
Is it going to be every? So let me listen. Right? Is it going to be every game that Lukaku doesn't score assist? Oh, he's just
okay.
average.
Let's put it in this way. Say this is fantasy Premier League. Lukaku didn't get a goal or assist. Alonso kept a clean sheet and got an assist. Thus, he will score more fantasy points than Lukaku has.
Alonso got an assist, yet was absolutely average. Lukaku didn't get a goal or assist, yet was our outlet and was a very good player this game.
But see, that's where we disagree. Us other 3 don't think Alonso was average in the second half, especially.
I'm being nice there and average.
I think Alonso was amazing in the second half. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think Alonso was really good second half.
It was like second player for me for man of the match. It was Silva than Alonso.
He was our big like goal scoring threat. Even for me, Arlo White was the commentator. He was the one saying that.
I've just never heard of a striker getting anything higher than even a 7, to be honest, without scoring or assisting. Like I've never heard of that.
That makes no sense because then you're just not valuing overall play. Like,
no, sure, but he's a striker. Like we're coming back to the whole team of Werner discussion. I'm like, running is not enough.
The service was shit. Yeah, he still made a very good. He made a very good game out of himself. I thought
very good. Yeah, that's why we're giving a 7.5, but not outrageous and getting him a 9.
But then Alonso's an 8, whereas like
because he was very good in the second half.
I think Alonso was better today. Yeah, I think Alonso was better than you. I think he was better.
Just move on. I don't get this. Just move on.
We need to. Let's get to the subs. N'Golo Kante. You said second man of the match, Alonso. For me, second man of the match is Kante. Even though not necessarily just as an individual, but I suppose alongside Tuchel, the switch he helped us bring into the game was outrageous. And you know how people, especially in the Sarri days, Kante can only play as a DM, and every single person that works for Sky Sports still believes this to this day, which is still baffling. Like, either sack them or send them onto like a football course because none of them understand anything. Honestly, especially Paul Merson. I'm like, the guy hasn't seen a football pitch in like 15 years. Thinks he knows what he's talking about. Pisses me off. Anyway, Kante was literally playing the highest up the pitch and was absolutely phenomenal. Scored. The only reason I'm not giving him a 10 alongside Silva is because he didn't start. So I would give Kante a 9.5. Cheyenne, what about you?
I'd give him a 9.
Fair. That's fair. Con?
Yeah, 9. He came on and showed Mount and Havertz how to attack.
Yeah, and in big Kante is only a ZDM, sort of. So, Pice, you agree 9.5, or would you go lower or higher? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, would have to probably go for a 9 just because he was very, very good off the bench. But yeah, I mean, what else do you expect from Kante? Like, I knew he was going to come on and drop a masterclass. So,
but not that he was going to score.
No, I mean, well, to be fair, the goal was very, very lucky, but we take it.
We take it.
On target.
But he went for it. Do you know what I mean? At least he went for it in a position where I'm like, go for it. Unlike a few other players, I'm not going to name names because Pice is going to rip my head off again. Didn't put it into Rose head, but kept it somewhat on target. So at least the deflection is possible. So I was very, very pleased. Sorry, Pice, I only took the piss. So I'll call here. not trying to have a go. But yeah. I think. Hey, if you guys say 9 and I say 9.5, and 9 it is. And then Timo Werner. We touched on him earlier already. Should have scored 2. I'm not having anyone tell me they were difficult chances. I don't care. He should have scored 2, but he got an assist. So I don't know. I know it was only 20 minutes, but he got an assist. He was useful. Got some corners. Did a good thing. Got some pace in there. His touches, aside from for one of the finishers, weren't even that bad. Unfortunately, his touch is always the worst in the worst moments. But I don't know. Give him a 6.5, 7. Got the assist, but also you remove some points for the misses, I guess. But Pice, what about you? What would you have given Timo today?
Yeah, probably something like a 7. I mean, 0 for his finishing, but I mean, to be fair, all round, I just thought we looked a lot more threatening with him. And this is exactly the same as we were saying last season. Whenever Werner played, we all agreed, no matter how crap he was in front of goal, we just looked a better team. We couldn't figure out why. We just did. We just did. I guess and it was the movement. The movement from Werner was good. He stretches teams. And I would like to see him up top with Lukaku next week against City because, like, if he makes space like he did for Havertz, like in the Champions League final, I think Lukaku will have a field day. Lukaku's up against Diaz and probably Ake because Laporte's Stones are currently injured. So I think that dynamic could be a bit different next week, and then maybe a Mount or Havertz behind them. I don't know if they even deserve to start. Probably not, but one of them probably will. So yeah,
I suppose we'll see what happens in midweek as well, if any of them.
Yeah, midweek will be interesting. Definitely will be interesting. But yeah, I would like to see that dynamic again because I did enjoy it. I thought he was very threatening when he came on, so I'll give him a 7.
Fair. It's a difficult one for me because obviously he came on, but we was 2-0 up by that point. So it's like, obviously it was a little bit easier. So it's like, it's not, I don't think you can fully translate it to, it would have been the same had he started. But I do want to get to that comment by Melly, just because, it is very true. The impressive part was not just did Tuchel make that sub about Kante. I know we're just talking about Werner, but otherwise I'll forget again. Not only did we make that sub and it worked out brilliantly for us, we made a sub, changed formation drastically, and we came out of half-time and were instantly perfect in it. Usually when the team changes formation, you take a little bit of getting used to. Even when we changed to the 3-4-3 on the Kante for the first time, being 3-0 down against Arsenal that time. Sure, that second half was way better than the first half was, but we weren't anywhere near as good in that 3-4-3 as we ended up being for the following months, right? But how we brought Kante on, switched shape, switched formation, and we did it already against Villa when we, dragged Ziyech into midfield to copy their 3-5-2 rather than the 3-4-3. It's so impressive how Tuchel is so in the brains of the players that he tells them, right, we're doing this, and they're doing it. I wish sometimes, obviously, the last couple of games, it would just work like that from the start, but still, it's very impressive how we just switch like that, and it's just fantastic. But sorry, I just wanted to mention that. If either of you guys have anything to add to that, please do when I put you up. But yeah, I mean 6.57 or 7 for Werner, I'd be absolutely okay with that. Maybe 7. Would I be okay with that? Because one assist does not outweigh 2 dreadful misses, even if we win 3-0. So maybe I will still stick more to my 6.5. But Pi said 7. Con, what about you?
I think it's 6.5 just for the fact he came when the game was won. Spurs
Yeah.
looked defeated, didn't they? And he missed 2 sitters, man. Like I saw a comment on there saying, "Oh, Werner did more than Lukaku." But if Werner scores the chance Lukaku gave to him, you know, he gets an assist as well. And I made this point to you last time, didn't I, about Werner not finishing other people's assists off? But I'm not getting into that now. So 6.5.
That was the best. That was one of the best points I've ever heard. I've said that to other people about 3 times since you told me that. By the way,
this is why you're my boo.
Exactly. But yeah, I'd be okay with 6.5. Anything more to add, or about the halftime sub, if there's anything?
Oh yeah, the halftime sub was great. Brings in the Ngolo from Mount. It's just crazy, and it's Tuchel. It's just Tuchel.
Yeah, it's like I would have never come up with that. I can't lie. But Cheyenne, to bring some reason towards the end of this stream, I've said 6.5. Con said 6.5. Pi said 7. What you giving Team Werner?
The classic 6.5.
There you go. Pies, this time you've been outvoted. I've been outvoted already twice by 3 of you guys. So, you know.
Democracy.
Democracy. I'm not sure where I'm going to put Tuchel. I suppose let's put him with Thiago Silva just because he was man of the match. I just usually put him beneath the man of the match. What did we do about Tuchel today? Let me go back to you straight away, Cheyenne. Like 1, I said, I think 1,000.
Yes.
All right. No, so 10. All right, fair enough. Con?
10, bro. It has to be. Change formation, he fixed the problem, and he made it look so easy as well. Easily a 10. Should be more than that, but 10.
Okay, Pies?
Yeah, I think 10. I think the sub won us the game, to be honest. Completely changed the game into our favour. So, I mean, what else do you want more from a manager?
Do the perfect setup from the start?
Yeah, but that's opinion based, though, isn't it? Like, you could want someone, I could want someone. Like, I don't think there's a perfect team right now. Anyway,
but it takes cojones
to
be like, I was
obviously
wrong.
In the end, yeah,
and make the sub.
100%. Like I would have said 9. It's not like I would have said something bad, but to get a 10, you need to get it right from the start, and I don't think you did for me. But if you guys are all saying 10, then the 10 it is. So
I don't know though, Laurenz, because imagine we scored those attacks we had, then you'd be like, oh well, first half was amazing. Like,
yeah, but what if Spurs did, and then we're 2-0 down?
Yeah, but we defended so well, and Spurs didn't. So I mean, he got it right.
But we don't concede goals, Laurenz. Come on now.
Yeah, we don't. But we still should have been better in the first half, and you know, with how Mount and Kai played, maybe they shouldn't have played. But hey ho, you know, you guys said 10, I said 9. It's not like we're far off each other. Let me see what the chat has said. What would the chat have given Thomas Tuchel today? I see 11. I see 10 plus. I see 15. I see I'm wrong.
I see I'm wrong.
So hey,
looks like you've been outvoted on this one.
I have. Hey, I'll take it on the chin. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long stream because 4 people and a lot of things to discuss. And it was quite entertaining, in my opinion. You know, a lot of different opinions makes it fun. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have enjoyed this, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But on the road to 12,000 subscribers, we're getting ever closer. Then obviously the 15 is on the horizon as well. So get subscribed if you haven't already. Smash that like button. It really helps with the algorithm. Like I said in the very beginning, not streaming for 2 weeks, being on holiday and the international break before that really killed me in your algorithm. So, you know, if you could smash the like button, helps me push these streams out to more people, would be massively appreciated. Of course, if you want to become a member, there's a join button underneath if you're on desktop, or a link down in the description. Check out all of these guys down in the description below. Of course, Con and Pies on Twitter, and of course Cheyenne, I suppose on Twitter as well, but also Next Generation Podcast, Football Podcast, my bad, his YouTube channel and the podcast as well. Check out all of that with the links down in the description. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. I'm trying to find the right picture here. But yeah, I'm just going to start the outro again. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. Tottenham get battered everywhere they go. And I'll see you next time.
And I'll see you next time.
You do know that you're not muted yet, right?
Oh, my bad.